Clinton claimed there was a vast right-wing conspiracy against them, but it was their own misdeeds which led to dozens of investigations over the past 35 years. As Bill Clinton declared in his 1992 "Buy one, get one free" speech, the Clintons are a team, so it's difficult to separate their actions. Their co-presidency was 8 years of scandals, and the improprieties continued throughout Hillary Clinton's tenures as Senator and Secretary of State. Details of these offenses have eluded many voters, and the young electorate are unaware of her checkered past. Hillary Clinton desperately claims these scandals are old news, yet each one is critical when considering her for president. After the inauguration in 1993, the Clintons fired the White House Travel Office employees, allowing their wealthy Hollywood friends to take over the lucrative travel business. This led to investigations by the FBI, DOJ, GAO, Oversight Committee, and the Whitewater Independent Counsel. The Clintons claimed the firings were due to financial misdeeds, but the employees were cleared on all counts. Hillary Clinton allegedly played a central role in the firings, yet in her sworn testimony, she claimed she was not involved. The independent counsel found this to be factually inaccurate and that she made factually false statements. The Clintons were forced to remove their friends and reinstate the previous employees. Vince Foster, the longtime friend and companion of Hillary Clinton, was significantly involved in several Clinton scandals. Due to the strange circumstances surrounding his death in 1993, an investigation ensued. Before the police arrived, Clinton staffers illegally removed boxes of documents on Whitewater and presumably Travelgate and other sensitive issues.
I'm Michelle Fields for PJTV, and we're out here at George Washington University asking young Hillary Clinton supporters what they think her biggest accomplishment was as Secretary of State.
I think it'd be really cool to have a woman president, but she'd have to overcome some issues before getting there.
Definitely when you think about the fact that we already have had our first African-American president, I think this is really an era of progression in American politics, and we could set the stage for really set an example for the rest of the world. If we have our first African-American president and then immediately follow that with our first woman president, that would just be amazing.
Whoa. I have no clue. There's just so many. Just the fact that she's been such a world leader and just recognized all over as doing so many great things. Like, I don't even know that I could pick a single accomplishment.
Her soft power approach, I think, was a very big and positive contrast to the previous 8 years under the Bush administration. And I think really, gained America's credibility abroad and was very positive for the U.S. in general.
As Secretary of State, she has just done a great job in not letting things deteriorate. Honestly, I'm not very up to date with politics, but I know she hasn't made a major mistake, and that would definitely be an accomplishment.
What do you think is her greatest achievement as Secretary of State?
I'm not really sure. I'm not that into politics.
I don't know. It's a tough question. I don't know. I really don't know.
Definitely not the Benghazi ordeal.
Don't say
right?
Whoa. I have no clue. There's just so many. Just the fact that she's been such a world leader and just recognized all over as doing so many great things. Like, I don't even know that I could pick a single accomplishment.
In 1994, President Clinton's Attorney General Janet Reno initiated an investigation focusing on fraud accusations against the Clintons regarding their real estate venture, Whitewater Development Corporation, co-owned with their friends Jim and Susan McDougal. Hillary Clinton was the central figure, and the probe revealed pervasive conflicts of interest between the Rose Law Firm, where Hillary Clinton was partner, and its client, Madison Guaranty, owned by Clinton business partner Jim McDougal. Hillary Clinton claimed billing records subpoenaed and critical to the investigation were lost. It is presumed they were stolen from Vince Foster's office the night he died. 19 months later, following the Clintons' acquittal, many of the missing records reappeared in the Clintons' residence. As they were covered with Hillary Clinton's fingerprints, she fell under suspicion of obstruction of justice. Their business partner, Susan McDougal, refused to testify against the Clintons, assuring they were not charged. Susan McDougal went to prison for her silence, but was pardoned by President Clinton. 15 Clinton associates were convicted of 40 federal crimes related to Whitewater. The independent counsel's report highlighted the president's abundant and calculating lies under oath, obstruction of justice, and abuse of power. During this case, many other alleged abuses were uncovered. The 4.5-year expanded investigation cost taxpayers $145 million. The Clinton administration improperly requested and received FBI background reports on 900 Republican officials. Hillary Clinton allegedly initiated the request to add data to her enemies list, leading to 3 separate investigations in 1996. In testimony, the White House Personnel Security Director refused to name Hillary Clinton as the source of the request, and he was forced to resign. Hillary Clinton claimed she was guiltless and was called a congenital liar in the New York Times.
I'm honestly a huge Hillary fan. I think that Hillary can do a lot for this country. I loved her tenure as Secretary of State. I'm actually doing my senior thesis on it at the moment. So, I mean, if I could see her run for president, I'd definitely vote for her. And the way she handled Benghazi was remarkably adept at international affairs. So I really respect her for that.
So you think probably Benghazi is one of her best accomplishments?
I mean, no accomplishment without fail, but I think that it ranks pretty high up on the level of emergency that it presented and how well it was handled. So yeah, I would definitely say that Benghazi is her high point.
The United States mission in Benghazi, Libya, was attacked on September 11, 2012. As Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State at the time, she is at the heart of the cover-up investigation. When she finally testified to Congress 4 months after the attack, she famously stated, "The fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest? Or was it because guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?" Hillary Clinton testified that she submitted all documents requested by Congress. 20 months later, and only through a Freedom of Information Act request, 41 new documents were released, including changes to Ambassador Susan Rice's talking points. More documents are still being withheld.
You said it's a big deal that we would have the first female president, right?
Yes.
So that gives you a little like bonus incentive to vote for someone, right?
Yeah.
That might outweigh some other factors.
Yes.
So like most Democrats are like they believe in civil liberties, right, and like privacy rights and things like that. You support those positions?
Yes.
Okay, well that's fine. Most Democrats are relatively anti-war, right?
Yes.
So would you describe yourself as anti-war?
Yes.
So you'd be willing to compromise on some of these things, or maybe like even LGBT rights, or student loans or things like
Right.
that. You'd be willing to compromise to have a female president, right?
Yes, to an extent. As long as I agree with a majority of what it is, then I am all for it. Because there's not going to be anyone who perfectly represents everything that I want.
Sure.
So, if there's certain things that are hit upon that I really do feel strongly for, like she's not going to be able to get everything, and I know that.
Well, like if the president was, say, getting people killed unnecessarily, in a way that you thought was unnecessary, that you disagreed with, you'd be like, no, that doesn't matter what color of your skin or what gender, like you wouldn't support him, right?
Of course. No.
So, like supporting Obama's drone strike policies that are killing children in the Middle East, that would be a disqualifier, right?
Oh yeah.
So, like supporting the war in Iraq, that would be a disqualifier.
Yeah.
So, like calling Ed Snowden, saying that what he did by revealing the documents from the NSA, like that was supporting terrorism, like that would be a disqualifier, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's hard.
So, like, it'd be nice to have a woman president, but if she was like doing those things and like getting people killed unnecessarily or one of those policies, you'd be like, no, I'm not going to support her.
Yeah.
Well, I have some bad news for you.
I know. I know. It's not a perfect candidate, and I know that there's a lot of, especially in those particular things, that she is for. So really, it's to an extent.
So you knew all that, and you support her anyway.
Yes.
So you're willing to say, let's have a female president in the White House, even if she gets people killed, just because she has different genitalia, we're going to support her. It doesn't matter if people die as a result.
I mean, it's a really horrible thing to say, but I guess I didn't think of it in that sense. That's really bad.
Maybe you should think about it more.
I really think I should.
The Clintons were accused of using the IRS to harass their enemies, including Republican politicians, the White House Travel Office, the NRA, Judicial Watch, the Heritage Foundation, and other conservative organizations. A senior IRS official admitted that Clinton opponents were singled out for tax audits. Also audited were Bill Clinton's female accusers, including Jennifer Flowers, Paula Jones, Juanita Broaddrick, and Elizabeth Ward Grayson. As he was leaving office in January 2001, President Clinton pardoned 450 people for crimes ranging from cocaine trafficking to kidnapping and terrorism. Several pardons personally benefited Hillary Clinton and were investigated for direct ties to her New York Senate bid. Mark Rich, a billionaire fugitive, owed the government over $160 million and was charged with tax evasion, wire fraud, racketeering, and trading with Iran. Rich's ex-wife, Denise Rich, a close friend of the Clintons, donated over $600,000 to the Clinton Presidential Library just prior to the pardon. Mrs. Rich also gave $14,000 to the Clinton Legal Defense Fund and $135,000 to Hillary Clinton's Senate campaign. The New Square Four were elders of a Republican voting Hasidic community convicted of defrauding the government of millions of dollars. Candidate Clinton met with their grand rabbi. Hillary Clinton received their votes, and the New Square Four received their pardons. Hillary Clinton claimed, "I did not play any role whatsoever in the pardons." Hillary Clinton's brother, lawyer Hugh Rodham, charged high fees to use his family influence to obtain presidential pardons. Carlos Vignali, a Los Angeles drug lord, paid Rodham over $500,000, and his sentence for cocaine trafficking was commuted. Almond Braswell, a scam artist, paid Rodham over $250,000 and was pardoned for defrauding senior citizens of millions of dollars. The largest political fundraiser in U.S. history became the largest election fraud in history. In the year 2000, the fundraiser for Hillary Clinton's New York Senate race was attended by 1,300 people, including the Hollywood elite and the Democratic leadership. In violation of federal election statutes, an individual, Peter Paul, financed the entire event. Peter Paul was also a convicted cocaine trafficker. In violation, Hillary Clinton was involved with the solicitation of funds and the coordination of the gala. In violation, Hillary Clinton requested in writing an additional $150,000 from Peter Paul in untraceable securities. The Clinton campaign's filings with the Federal Elections Committee stated the event only cost $500,000. The actual price tag was $1.5 million. Senator Clinton was fined over $50,000 for purposely underreporting the cost of the event. In another campaign finance fraud, Hillary Clinton ignored FBI warnings and accepted over $900,000 from scam artist and felon Norman Sue. Hillary Clinton's Senate tenure was undistinguished. In 7 years, she introduced only 3 minor bills which became law, including the naming of a post office. She helped secure millions in federal assistance for a New York developer. Ethics questions arose when the businessman donated over $120,000 to the Clinton Foundation. Senator Clinton did not support English as the official language of the United States government, and she enthusiastically voted for the Iraq War resolution. Hillary Clinton ignored Senate rules and reporting requirements for the hiring of staff and non-paid fellows, breaking the Senate Code of Official Conduct and hiding multiple conflicts of interest. She was investigated by the Senate Select Committee on Ethics. Hillary Clinton's long history of campaign finance abuses continued. Jeffrey Thompson and other fundraising bundlers for her failed 2008 presidential campaign pled guilty to conspiracy and campaign finance law violations. In the primaries, Democrats nominated the little-known junior Senator Obama over the well-known, scandal-ridden Hillary Clinton. In 2009, President Obama nominated Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. In 2014, the State Department spokesperson was asked to identify one tangible achievement from Hillary Clinton's 4 years as Secretary of State. She responded, "I am certain those who were here at the time, who worked hard on that effort, could point out one." Secretary Clinton's tenure had no signature doctrine or diplomatic breakthrough. It was, however, 4 more years of scandals. The Clinton State Department wasted $80 million on a U.S. consulate in northern Afghanistan, which will never be completed. Under Clinton's name, the Foreign Service gathered details on foreign diplomats, our allies and officials of the UN, including internet usernames, email addresses, credit card numbers, fingerprints, frequent flyer account numbers, and work schedules. The Clinton State Department lost approximately $6 billion due to improper filing of contracts. The FBI, CIA, and the DOJ requested that Boko Haram be designated as a terrorist group so the agencies could pursue them. Secretary Clinton declined, and the group continued its reign of terror, including the kidnapping of 300 schoolgirls in Nigeria. A special investigator for the State Department claims probes into illegal acts by the Diplomatic Security Service and ambassadors were influenced, manipulated, or simply called off under Hillary Clinton. These include sexual assaults by State Department security officials in Beirut, endemic engagement of prostitutes by Hillary Clinton's security detail, drug use by State Department contractors in Baghdad, solicitation of child male prostitutes by U.S. Ambassador to Belgium. Secretary Clinton's spokesperson claimed Hillary Clinton had no knowledge of any of the scandals in her State Department. "We learned of it from the media and don't know anything beyond what's been reported." The New York Times expose on the Clinton Foundation details moral and fiscal chaos, shameless fundraising, and calls it mired in conflicts of interest. Run by old Clinton friends, it has been grossly mismanaged and, despite enormous donations, ran multi-million-dollar deficits. Already rife with conflicts of interest, the foundation's offices are now shared by the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. Americans can give $2,300 to presidential candidates, but there are no limits on donations to foundations. Hillary Clinton cannot legally accept campaign donations from foreigners, but no restrictions apply to foundations. Secretary of State Clinton traveled to Moscow and pressed the Russian government to purchase planes from Boeing. 2 months later, contract in hand, Boeing donated $900,000 to the Clinton Foundation. The foundation's support from foreign interests hoping to influence U.S. policy is of grave concern. Foreign donations to the foundation increased by 70% when Hillary Clinton ran for president in 2008. Saudi Arabia has financed terrorists, has an abysmal women's rights record, and punishes homosexuality by death. And yet, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is one of the largest supporters of the Clinton Foundation. In a Clinton co-presidency, every large donation could raise suspicions of improprieties or influence peddling and lead to non-stop investigations. Many qualified and deserving politicians, Democrat and Republican, women and men, are waiting to lead this country.